Yo, what's going on, guys? Sam here, and iOS 13.2 is out right now. This is like the 6th or 7th update to iOS 13 already, and as you can tell by the length of this copy right here, there are a ton of new features. Deep Fusion for iPhone 11 and iPhone 11 Pro that adds more detail to some of your medium light photos through a software update. Tons of new emojis. Let me show you those right here. These are a lot of features that Apple has had in the works for a while, and now they're finally out inside of iOS 13. So if you're excited for this update, drop a like down below. Hit subscribe for more, and let's go ahead and get started. Per usual, the update is also out for iPad as iPadOS as well, so all of your devices have an update, including your HomePod, the update that has been long awaited, where different voices can be recognized, different music profiles, different everything on the HomePod can now be segmented by individual users. That is out too, so make sure to go ahead and update your HomePod today as well. So first up, if you have one of the newer iPhones with the brand new A13 chip inside and the new triple or dual camera setups, you have access to something in iOS 13.2 known as Deep Fusion. Essentially, it adds more detail through insane levels of camera processing that were not present before the iOS 13.2 update. And here's just one example of how you can actually get additional detail. So this is a picture of me, but especially you'll notice when you are looking at texture, maybe the complexion of someone's skin, or detail in a sweatshirt that they have on. Or for example, the screen print on this shirt I'm wearing, you can see additional detail because Apple is processing this in ways that they've never processed data before. So it's fantastic. Crazy that your $1,000 or $700 or $1,500 phone has just gained a new feature through a software update. Apple announced this at the keynote, but now it's finally here and it works really well. Next up for camera, this is amazing as well. After so many years of requests, Apple has given us the ability to change video settings in app. Before, you'd have to go to the settings app, change a bunch of stuff there, and then go back to camera. Now you can change resolution from 4K to HD, 4K again, back. Like, it's on the fly. It's so incredible. Even frame rate. This is probably the most useful. If you don't want to take up a ton of data on your phone, maybe do 4K 30. If you want that smooth motion that Apple touts, then you get 4K 60, just like that. This is incredible. We've been waiting on this forever. Android's had it for years. And now, in our iPhone running iOS 13.2, we finally got it here as well. Next up, you guys know and love Siri. Well, a couple months back, it sort of came out, and by sort of came out, it means someone snitched, that Apple had non-Apple employees, people contracted by a third party, reviewing Siri recordings and sounds that were accidental triggers, meaning, people together in a bedroom may be doing something together, or you in a doctor's office talking about your sensitive health condition. Employees in different countries were hearing this information, and Apple didn't really make it clear that your voice could be reviewed by someone that specifically. So now inside of iOS 13.2, Apple gives us the option to either opt in and improve it, or opt out. And I'm definitely going to be opting out on that because I'm not a huge fan of other people listening to what I'm saying, even if it is accidental. And even if it's not tied to my device that closely, I'm leaving that off for myself. And then also under Siri and search, you now have the ability for Siri and dictation history to just clear everything out. So from Apple servers, delete all of your Siri and dictation history. Now, how this will affect your experience is still sort of unclear, but if you want the most privacy and you don't want any of your data out there that is unnecessary, then you'll probably want to go here, delete, and then delete one more time. So that's new in this update, which is great that Apple acknowledged that there is an issue and corrected it. While we're here, we have announced messages with Siri as well, which is pretty dope. Whether you have AirPods 2 or AirPods Pro, you can get your messages read to you via Siri, meaning that whenever you get a text from either everyone or just your contacts with AirPods inside of your ears, Siri will read that to you out loud, and then you can reply without even having to pull out your phone or even look at your Apple Watch. There's a cool setting called reply without confirmation here, which means that Siri would just send whatever you said without confirming that she heard you correctly, which I think is risky, so I'm going to be leaving that off. But this was initially in the iOS 13 beta, Apple pulled it, and now it's back in 13.2 in full force, so second-gen AirPods, some Beats headphones as well, and of course, new AirPods Pro can read you your text, and you can reply without any interaction with your watch or your phone. In addition to your AirPods reading to you, this update also has support for AirPods Pro, in addition to the new Solo Beats Pro headphones, which is great because we weren't exactly sure when the update would be launching, but as hypothesized, the update is out now to support everything, and AirPods Pro were a surprise today. Make sure you guys check out my full video on what's new there in case you haven't already, but they're pretty sick. Since iOS 13's been out this year, deleting apps on the home screen has been quite odd, as you would have to tap and hold without Apple telling you how to do that. to actually X out and delete an app off your home screen. But now in iOS 13.2, you've probably seen this right now. It says delete app at the top. So on top of edit home screen, which that text has also changed just a little bit, and on top of share app, delete app, and then you can tap delete just like that. You can do this by tapping and holding on anything. You're always going to get that option now instead of having to just keep tapping and holding until unprompted that actually happens, and you might discover that on accident. And also for 3D Touch, there is a new user interface for hiding link previews. Previously, that would be down here at the very bottom, kind of hard to reach, but now you can do it on the fly. So hide preview will just show you text only. So now anytime you try to 3D touch or long press, it does not show you any imagery. If you tap to show preview, then it sort of works as 3D touch, and haptic touch has been designed to show you an actual preview of what you are 3D touching or haptic touching on. Another feature delayed until iOS 13.2 is HomeKit Secure videos and support for HomeKit routers. So your most sensitive information, obviously, you don't want floating around, and maybe you don't trust Ring, for example, to keep all that safe. Well, if you have a home security video camera compatible with HomeKit's Secure Video, Apple will count it not against your personal storage and let you store some video for free depending on what iCloud plan you have, which is super cool. Also, same thing for routers. If you have a HomeKit enabled router, there's support for that in iOS 13.2 as well. As previewed earlier, there are new emojis. You have yawn emoji, so look forward to hitting people with that. A number of new accessibility options right here. Red head emoji, more options there. Tons and tons of interracial emojis. So if you scroll down here, you'll see that Apple has added the ability to actually do interracial couples for the first time, which is cool because the way you actually pick is super innovative. You just basically tap on the options that you want, and then you sort of create your own emoji, which I hypothesize is going to open up the possibilities for customizing every parts of emojis in the future. Really looking forward to that. There's also a ton of other cool options in here at the very bottom, past all of those. Some new foods, onion waffle, butter. Can't wait to just sauce this people's way. Of all the emojis, otter definitely has won my heart here, but you've also got orangutan and skunk, and to follow out the list, a little razor, some other more abstract shapes. So head over to your emoji keyboard in iOS 13.2. So many more options than before. And let me know what you guys think about all these down below. Those are all the main updates in iOS 13.2, but Apple's also included a load of changes and fixes here as well that are arguably just as important if you have been affected by some of these issues. So first up, if you were trying to autofill in third-party apps, some passwords just wouldn't go there. That's corrected now. When using search, sometimes the keyboard just wouldn't pop up. Apple's fixed that one as well. When you wanted to swipe to go home, if you had an iPhone 10 or later, so 10R, 10S, 11, 11 Pro, it might not swipe up sometimes. That's also kind of a weird one right there that iOS 13.2 addresses. In Messages, Apple's made a couple of changes there. Sometimes you'd only be getting a single notification when repeat alerts was enabled, and also you might see a phone number instead of a contact name sometimes, so you shouldn't be seeing those issues any longer. Opening up the Contacts app might jump to your most recent contact that you were looking at prior to the actual contact list, which obviously if you want to jump from person to person quickly could be kind of annoying. In Markup, whenever you'd make annotations on screen, do a screenshot or something else that you had just captured, annotations weren't saving properly. Apple has squashed that bug. Following that, sometimes your saved notes could temporarily disappear, which would definitely be a bit frustrating if it was a note that you really needed to look at. In iOS 13.1.3, Apple fixed some issues with iCloud backup, but it seems like some of that persisted in this update because there's another fix there for tapping backup now in settings. It wouldn't actually do a backup. It would just not do anything. And finally, when you're using assistive touch and accessibility feature to activate the app switcher, performance might have been a bit degraded prior to this. So that's iOS 13.2. Now let's run a Geekbench to see how the performance stacks up. All right, so the Geekbench test is complete, and I've got some really good news for you guys. On iOS 13.1.3, the last available public update, I got 1331 for the single core score and 3458 for the multi-core score. And then here on 13.2, actually a little bit higher, 1332, so just higher by 1 point in single core, but a bit of a larger performance boost on multi-core, 3467 versus 3458. So performance is ever so slightly better, at least here on my singular representative sample of my iPhone 11 Pro. I don't know how these results will vary across devices, but this is at least somewhat promising. Aside from that, I think iOS 13.2 is a fantastic update that you should definitely give a try if you had persistent issues with iOS 13 with bugs, or you just want to be on the latest version of iOS, because you get all of these great features, new emojis, deep fusion, Siri privacy settings, announced messages with Siri. It's all here. It's all great. and it's all still moving iOS 13 in a nice direction. Makes me wonder what's up Apple's sleeve for 13.3 or even 13.4 at this rate. Don't know just yet, but I'll update you guys when I do. That's all I have for you in this video. If you enjoyed it or learned something new, drop a like down below. Hit subscribe for more. I've been Sam. Hope you're doing well, and I'll catch all of you guys in the next one.